Hi all, welcome back on my channel. Today I want to show you another way to create the parts, as I already show you a way with the sketch. So let me launch the free CAD. So here it is, and again let me show you the version of FreeCAD I am using. So the version is 13.407 and the main one is 0.17. So the last time we create these parts, using what we call sketch. So these kind of things where you make some drawings and then you make some extrusion of other drawing. Today I want to show you another way to create the parts. So I would not say it's not a good way. It's a different way to do the thing. And when you know that the two way of making a part, creating a part, you will choose the best one for you. So I will create a new document here. So as you see, this is my new document. So the previous one is there, the new one is here. So let's give this file another name. So it's a very good thing to say what you are doing. And let me grab the correct file. So here it is. So as already discussed in the previous tutorial, there is some workbench, and the way that the software is designed is based on the workbench. So each workbench has some dedicated tools for a specific task. So the last time we saw the part design, where you use some sketch for making the parts. Today I want to show you the parts workbench. It's quite an easy way, and this kind of workbench is a good way also to see how you can create a part without using the sketch function. So the first thing first, we are going to create the plates. So when I say plates, I say this one. So go back to the file, and here you have a function that is called a cube. So as you can see here, there is a cube, and we will change the dimension to have the same dimension regarding the first part. So the previous part on tutorial 1, if we go here on the plate, the thickness was 5 millimeters, the dimension was 35 by 20. So it's an easy way here to define the proper dimension of the cube. So you go here on data, and you have information related to this one. So you have where the cube is based, and where is the position, and we have also the flat face. So you can define here whatever you want. So when you click on the new cube, you can change the dimension regarding the thing you have. So we say that it was 35 millimeters by 20 with a height of 5 millimeters. So as you can see here, the size of our plate is the same in this one. And I do not create any kind of sketch. I only use geometrical things. So the next thing that I need to create, so let's call this one a plate. We need to create the holes. So we have 4 holes in the plate. So there is a cylinder function here. So you click on the cylinder function, and as you can see, the system already creates cylinders at the 0, 0, 0 position. So if we check where we need to have, you know, the hole, so the dimension is 2 millimeters, the radius is 2 millimeters, and the position is at 3 millimeters from the corners. So let's do the thing with this cylinder. So we say that the radius is 2 millimeters, so it's a good thing. So for the moment, the height and the angle is not very important. But what we want to do, we want to change, you know, the position of this cylinder. So we say that we were at 3 millimeters from both ends. So we go here and change to 3 millimeters in X and Y, and you have here the coordinates to show you where you have. So 3 and 3, we are in the same, let's say, in the same position than the previous task. So it can appear for you a little bit strange why I put a cylinder, but we need something that is a hole. But I will show you later why we put a cylinder. So I can do other cylinder and create 3 other one for each hole, but there is a powerful, you know, function that you can use when we create such thing, and it's also why I want to show you the other way to creating a such part. So you select cylinder, so you can do either by clicking on the name cylinder or clicking on the parts, and here you can see here it's a mirror function. So if I click on a mirror function, it opens me a window, and I can select a lot of things. So for the moment I will only keep cylinder, and the mirror cylinder plane has to be chosen here. And if I want to create another cylinder in this position, my mirror plane is here, and the mirror plane is the YZ. So I choose the YZ, and for the moment, let's say that on the X coordinate here on the dimension, I will place 10 millimeters. Click OK, and as you can see, a second second cylinder appears. If I want to be sure to have the same symmetrical cylinder for creating this one from this one, I need to place the proper dimension of this length. So if I do not remember the dimension of this length, there is a powerful tool here, and you can use it to measure length. So let's say I will activate this tool. So selection 1 could be a point, so I select a point here. The second one is I select a point here, and it tells me that the length is 35 millimeters. It's a dimension, you know, I place on the cube, but sometimes it's more easy to use this kind of tool to have the dimension of the thing. So now that I know it's 35 millimeters, if I click on close, the dimension does not appear here. It's not a tool that will use dimension as a single object. It's only to help you create things. And if I click here and I click erase, dimension disappear. So we saw that it's 35 millimeters. So the correct dimension for the x-axis of the plane is not 10 millimeters, but 70.5. That is the half of the length of our plate. So I change the dimension, and as you can see here, if we go on the upside, this cylinder is a mirror of this one, and it's written here, cylinder mirror number 1, and it's mirror from this one. So as you can see, it's a very helpful function, and it helped me to create the second cylinder in the proper position. So now I can do the same thing to create a mirror, but if I want to make in a more easy way, I can use some special function. So this workbench is able, to manipulate the things with adding, subtracting, and so on. So if I choose the first cylinder and I click on Control and use the second cylinder, like this one, I select the 2 cylinders, and if I ask to the system here to make a union of the both cylinder, I click on it. You can see here I have a fusion of the 2 one, and if I select fusion, I have 2 cylinders selected. So the single object is the two cylinders. If I go downstairs, I can see that I have 2 other cylinders that was created already with the system. So what I will do, if I want to create the 2 other cylinders, I use the fusion. I select mirror. The plane I have to tell to the system is the XZ plane. You can see here the XZ plane is the mirror plane. So let's say XZ plane, and as we know that the dimension here is 20 millimeters, let's put on the Y axis, let's say 10 millimeters. That is the half plane of this dimension. Let's say OK. And here it is. I have 4 cylinders, and as you can see at the beginning, I create just one, and in very easy way I create the 3 other one just by using the mirror function. Now that I have 2 fusion, so I have 2 group of fusion, I can make a fusion of the fusion. So I select the 2 of one, I make a union, and now the third fusion is the all 4 holes. So the all 4 cylinders, sorry. And as I show you that you can add some parts with each other, you can also subtract parts from each other. So you can imagine that those cylinders are like some joining bits, and in the material you can make some holes regarding the joinings. And the things, the way to do it is very simple. You select the base object. So the base object is the plate. You select the object you will use to cut the material. So it's fusion 1. And when I select the second one, I use Control plus the left button of the mouse. And then you can see here there is the subtraction of the material. So if I click on this icon, as you can see, I obtain a cutting operation. And if I compare this plate to the first one, you can see that we obtain the holes. So this way of creating the parts is a different way to have the same result. With the sketch, it's quite easy to make a drawing. You put a circle and you make a protrusion. So you have to think in 2D and then to make the 3D. And with this way of creating the parts, you only use adding and subtracting material, and the result is the same. So basically the result is the same. The only difference with this type of thing is the fact that we have more cylinders, more fusion, and so on, as you can see here on the thing, compared to the previous way of testing. But we cannot say that it's a best way or a worst way to do the thing. It's a different way of creating the parts, and mirroring the things and subtracting material can be very helpful sometimes when you want to create some special forms. So now we are going to go further. So we are going to cut this pocket here, and the pocket has a dimension of 10 millimeters from this side to this side, and inside it's 6 millimeters, and everything is placed at the middle. So let's see how we can do the same thing with FreeCAD in this thing. So the first thing first, we are going to create a half cylinder. So I use cylinder. So we know that for this cylinder the dimension of the radius is 5 millimeters, and we know that also the angle is 180 or minus 180. Oops. So let's say 180. Okay. But that we see that the way that the half cylinder is is not correct for what we want. So you can go in the placement, and we will see here how to to move a part and to rotate a part. So if you click on placement, then you have a small box with 3 dots. You click on it and you open the placement window. So here you can change everything and you can move the parts. So for example, if I increase the Z, as you can see, the Z is increased. So I put 3 millimeters, and if I want to make a rotation, so rotation are in the second half of the window, I have to define the axis, the rotation axis. So for us it's a Z, and the angle you can enter here, or you can turn it with the mouse. So let's say I want a 90 degrees. So here it is, and then I say OK, and if I click OK, so the center of this thing is not at a good place. We have to move it in this direction. So the first move, we have to move it from 10 millimeters on the y-axis. So let's do it, 10 millimeters, because the total length of our part is 20. And then we have to move, if we want to go to the center, it's 17.5, but as we have to let 3 millimeters, we only put on Y 14.5. So we say apply, OK, and so we have a half cylinder placed here. So to make the other one, we just use the mirror function. So we use the same thing. We define the YZ plane. So we know that for the x-axis it's 17.5. Say OK, and as you can see, we have the second parts already drew here, and the remaining thing is a piece of cube. We know that the dimension of the cube is something like 10 by 6. So let's say length 6. Like 10. And the height is the same. So this dimension is the good one. We just have to move the cube in the correct position, so in the middle of the part. So the middle from the Y side is 10. 10 minus the dimension of the part. So you can use here the middle, so it will be 5. And then for the X, so it's 14.5. And here we go. And we change the view. I have to change the V. We say 3 millimeters. Here it is. Okay. So now we create, the opposite shape of the pocket. So the next thing is to add the 2 cylinders. So to create a fusion, and then we make a fusion from the fusion with the cube, another fusion one, and we have a single part here. And the previous cut is here. So let's say that we want to cut this part with this one. So let's say we select the first one, then we click on the second one, we say subtract, and here it is. So we obtain exactly the same part than this one. The only difference is based on the thing that we only use some geometrical shape, and we do not use any kind of extrusion and so on. So you can combine the two things, and when you combine the two things, you can make really crazy parts. And I want to show you the two things, because you have to keep in mind those things. And when you are a machinist or CNC machinist, it's very easy for you to understand that when you want to make a hole, you have to create a drill. The drill is a cylinder, and then you have to apply to the material. And for a pocket, for example, it's like EDM. You create, the die of the EDM. You select, the dips of the things, and then you just have to subtract the main part from the die of EDM, and you have the result. So here it is for this second tutorials, and as you can see, we have exactly the two same parts. So it's a second way, to create parts. And again, we cannot directly see that this way or the other way is the best one. You have, to use all those techniques with mirror, subtracting material, creating sketch, and to have, the part you want. So thanks for watching, and we will show you the next time another tips regarding the software FreeCAD. So thanks for watching and stay tuned.